Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ohio State Primetime here at the Voice of College Football. I'm your host, Garrison Gaddy. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. For either of your friend, family, or foe, we have it all here at the Voice of College Football. Whether it be if you're a Buckeye fan, a Team Up North fan, Oklahoma, North Carolina, my goodness, Texas, horns down. We have it all here at the Voice of College Football. Michigan State also. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.vocfb.com today, where you can see the litany of hosts we have here at the Voice of College, but also all the other channels we have around the college football world. Also, check out our awesome writers and journalists that we have at the Voice of College Football. See the articles that they post every single day on the website for you. Now, let's get started by I was not able to join you all with Mike for the post-game show. Shout out to Mike for holding that down. Really upset I couldn't be there with you guys, but had to work and work calls. What I want to talk about today is I want to review what happened on the defense first tonight, then move on to the offense. Both things what I took from that. After that, we'll do halftime when I want to talk about Ohio going to play them this week. And then after that, we're going to finish up with the who I thought was too high and too low on the AP poll, and then also giving you guys my my top 20 for my power rankings the way I do it and with my criteria, which is pretty basic, but I don't know. I get canned for it sometimes, but we'll go over that. But before we do all that, shout out to my guy, Cleve Mike. Let's go, man. Hey, I talked to Mike the other day, man. I'm just so happy about this team. And I'm honestly really excited to talk about it with you all because I have a lot to say about this team. And whether I'm jumping off the ledge early, I don't care. I really like this team and what we see from them right now. Shout out to Jam OSU. Oh, Garrison, my dude, Jam. Good to see you in here, my friend. Yo, what's going on, bro? Thanks for being here. Ivan Zell says, boy, I was them U1 boys' ass. No, hey, man, I have been too. And I have a lot of questions I truly want to answer, but I do want to shout out. There are a good amount of Wolverine fans who they saw what it looked like yesterday, and they've come down to earth a little bit. I mean, we can talk about it real quick. I mean, I really like to talk about them on this channel unless I really have to, but let's really talk about them since it's football. During the offseason, a lot of them were circling this game and saying that this was an important game for them, that they thought it was a very losable game because of where it's placed. And then for some odd reason, after that New Mexico game, and after beating the Lobos and then telling them that was a good team or a challenging team, like as if it was even Cincinnati, they took that confidence and they rolled it into week 2 against Oklahoma in Norman, Oklahoma. And I told everybody, everybody knows on this channel that I'm a huge Bryce fan, but at the same time, like you guys need to be able to temper your expectations for him because he's still a true freshman. And I don't know, and shout out to my guy Grimm on X. You guys should go check out Mr. Grimm on there. But he says it right, and I've said it before too. That I like the way he says they don't have the infrastructure for Bryce Underwood, and I do agree with that. And I think that when you see that offensive line that hasn't developed in a few years now, actually since their their back-to-back Joe Moore award-winning O-line has gone downhill ever since. The wide receivers are still a problem. Some of them will claim I'm wrong about this. Their run game isn't the same. Their defense is still, I would say, pretty good. But the interior of that defensive line, guys like Isaiah Hole said it was even going from Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham to what they have now. That's just impossible. At that point, you're sunshine pumping. And so, no, I mean, they get beat by Oklahoma. In all reality, they could have got beaten worse. And I think that's that's microcosm of what the program really is. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Shout out to Daniel Henry. Good to see you here, my guy. OHIO. Let me see. Mike says Garrison, the Lions Stadium doing the. Yeah, I'm downstairs in the basement tonight, guys. Yep. That's crazy, Mike. Ivan's just a Wolverine if you. Okay, I haven't seen that. Oh man, we got Crash Out Boys are here tonight. Oklahoma Galos, Michigan Boys, BTA. They really did. They really did. Yeah, everybody, please, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. If you're watching on X right now, go ahead and go on YouTube, type in Ohio State, the voice of college football, and join the community that we have here and talk in the chat. Aaron, also good to see you in here, my friend. You drink it says I never slows back. Come on, guys. Come on. But yeah, let's go ahead and start the show. Now let's talk about the defense. I thought they played really well, of course, shutting out Grambling State. And of course, look, guys, it's still Grambling State, but this is the defense that just the week prior to went and gave up only 7 points to the Texas Longhorns, then number 1 Texas Longhorns in the nation. And in reality, that was a drop pass. And so, I mean, if you ask me personally, I feel like the Buckeyes haven't given up any points this season. But no, I thought the defense played very well. I was really happy to see a lot of good guys, young guys, get in the game. I think we should definitely start with talk about Riley Pettyjohn. Shout out to my guy Mike. He's been a big fan of him. Riley, he came in the game, had a pass deflection. That was great coverage by him. No fly zone from that guy. So you got to see we got to see a lot out of Riley Pettyjohn in a short span of time, and that's what's so exciting about this. Like he's hit the ground running, and so he gets in the game. He records a pass deflection, shows the coverage. In the run game, he gets up there, puts his shoulder into the running back, stops his whole momentum with his, forces the fumble, drives him into the earth. Riley, then Caden McDonald forces the fumble. Riley Pettyjohn, everyone's just standing around. He has the wherewithal that the whistle hasn't gone off. Everybody should be listening for that, but the whistle hasn't gone off. He has the first wherewithal to understand that, picks up the ball and returns it for a touchdown. Great game out of Riley Pettyjohn, of course, a true freshman. Comes from a great set of parents also, but no, what a game out of him. I that was more than I expected. It honestly reminds me of the Jermaine Matthews game Jermaine's freshman season. I forgot who the team was. I was at the game too, but he has a pick 6 in that game. That's what this is reminding me of when the freshman just flashes. And he wasn't the only one that did. Zion Grady, true freshman. That I wasn't expecting that out of him. He great in the pass rush. He's very long bodied. So he's using his arm length to like when he's on the tackle, and he sheds off him really well. Has a lot of wiggle when he's going towards the quarterback. He's like got long legs, taking up a lot of room. So quarterbacks don't really know how to outrun him. They can't really out angle him. I thought Zion Grady was awesome. If I'm not mistaken, he is tied first in sacks right now, technically. So and a small amount of snaps against Appalachian State, but for a freshman to get into this game and show his worth really early, and they put the freshman in pretty early, guys. It's not like it was like the last 5-6 minutes of the game. We were up early by a lot, and so those guys got to play a pretty good amount of snaps on Saturday. I thought Jarquez Carter, coming off of last week, he was actually in the last drive of the game for Texas. Thought he played really well. Eric Menza thought he got some snaps. He played great. Josh Mickens got some snaps. He looked good. Epicita Nele. I talked to his dad and I asked his dad. Shout out to him via how to pronounce it. Well, I gotta ask him again because I want to make sure I get this right because he's one of the shining the diamonds in the rough, you could say. Really good high school player, but I didn't know that he'd be ready to play as early as this. Again, it's just Appalachian State. You want to get some guys some snaps. But I think, from the buzz that came out of the fall camp, there's a really good chance that he could see some time also this year. I think they're kind of trying to work out some of those guys on the edge see who plays well, see who does better than who deserves more snaps, and coming out of practice also, because you do have to practice well as a young man to get into these games, especially at the Ohio State University. But again, I really loved what I saw on that defensive line. Thought they played very well, played fast. For the linebackers, the top three did what they need to do. Arvell, Sonny, Pierce. I thought they did what they needed to do. Again, we talked about some of the freshmen about the defensive line, and we already talked about Riley Pettyjohn. Again, that was just a great game out of him. Couldn't ask for more. Sonny, of course, flying around the field. You have Arvell just blowing shit up. Peyton, man, he just steady Eddie. You can't, in 2 games so far, for a guy that doesn't have, or for a guy that's gotten a good amount of snaps, you can't find bad tape of him right now. Not in my eyes. I think Pierce is playing just as well as he needs to be doing right now. And we're going to talk about another guy at the DB position here soon. But the only reason Riley Pettyjohn is going to get more snaps than he probably should, because Peyton Pierce is a damn good linebacker too. And again, James Laurinaitis said he looks at him at the same level as Sonny and as Arvell. So that says a lot right there for even Riley to then come in as the next guy up and get a lot of the snaps that he's gotten. So yeah, shout out to him, man. It was his first game playing. I'm really proud of him and how he played. I'm sure he made his parents proud also. Yeah, let's get to the DBs. These guys are BIA. We what we see out of them at all times is what we get. I don't think there's anything really you could talk about them. Jermaine Matthews did his thing, looked great. Igby Nosen, no penalties again. He looked great. The safeties, all of them look great. Shout out to Caleb Downs, gets his first pick of the year in a play that was great. Dips inside that acts like he's coming on the blitz, backs up the quarterback already had committed in his mind. His body followed, and he had no idea that Caleb Downs was going to be there. So shout out to him. Yeah, and then Devin Sanchez again gets in the game as he did last week against Texas. But a few months ago, if you had asked me then, Devin Sanchez, another freshman, comes from awesome family, and he's an awesome kid too. But I think but a few months ago I said that I think he's going to be one of those kids that are players that's impossible to keep off the field. And I do think he's going to play a fair amount, but I also thought that he'll probably start by the end of the season. And the only reason I'm backing off of that a little bit right now is because I had no idea that Lorenzo Styles will be playing as well as he is right now. And he's not just playing well; he's playing great. Lorenzo Styles has been at that nickel position. Last year I noticed that the coaches trusted him a lot by playing him as early as they did last season, playing him in critical moments throughout the college football playoff. He was one of the better defensive backs coming out of high school, though, before playing wide receiver at Notre Dame. But I look at the tape that he's put out there from the Texas game going into this Grambling State game, and he's locking shit down. He's making big tackles. He's playing tough. He plays through the whistle. He's always around. He's making smart decisions. He's a really good athlete. Lorenzo Styles is a bona fide nickel in this sport right now for me. Unless he just drops off a cliff and doesn't play as well as he has the last 2 weeks as he did against Texas, which is one of the better wide receiver units that he's going to see all season. He's got that position locked down. The 2 outside guys do too. But I do think that we are still going to see a lot of out of Devin Sanchez, because again, he is too doggone good to keep off of the field, and I think that he offers a lot to this team already as a freshman. Before we continue here, everybody, quick message here from Mark here at the Voice of College Football. Make sure you go ahead and check out BOCFB Bets.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the voice of college football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
All right. Also, everybody, if you haven't already, go on Instagram and go ahead and check out the Voice of College Football on there, as we also do post daily content on our Instagram page. I want to go through a few comments here. Day 1K says you want to see 483 against Ohio Saturday. I agree with you, and we're going to talk more about that after the break. And I'll leave this comment here because I do want to talk about that also, what I expect out of this team going against I think a pretty decent Ohio team. You guys let me know what you think. Brad Smith says Sharon can't develop O-line. Their best O-line came from the portal. Nugent, Olu, Henderson, hit. I agree. And I look at the time there, and I've had some honest conversations with some Wolverine fans, and I've always asked, outside of being an offensive line coach, what has he done in his career that impresses you, right? As either as a head coach, which nothing so far, or a offensive coordinator. What game can you point to? And there's nothing that you can point to. And I think that he's a position coach masquerading as a head coach, and he's not a CEO. He don't, maybe somewhere smaller, but he is not the guy for that program. And I think that even as Ohio State fans, we can look back at it and also say, like, yeah, this guy, he's out of his mind for this job. This isn't meant for him. So yeah, I agree with that. I agree. Mike 3AA3, good to see you in. Oklahoma QB versus Ohio State's QBs will be a fun playoff matchup. I agree. I would love to play Oklahoma. Should we rarely play them as it is? I think that I think that Bama, Ohio State, and Oklahoma are the top three big blue bloods in college football because they're also three of the most consistent when it comes to winning. So I know I think I would love to play Oklahoma. I'm right there with you, Mike. Shout out to Jam. Jam says, to me, it was also the play calling and put their players in a good position to execute. I agree with that also. I agree. I think it's one of the weaker. I'll say this. I think that you have two good coordinators over there in Ann Arbor with a head coach that shouldn't be. That's the best way I'll put it. But before we continue to talk about the offense here from last week's game against Grambling State, go ahead and please hit that like button if you haven't already. If you're watching on X, please share it on there, or go ahead and join us here on the YouTube channel. So let's talk about the offense, and this is where I might spend some time. So bear with me. Let's start with the offensive line. I thought they did their thing. The offensive line is really good. It's going to be one of the best in the nation. During the offseason, Mike from Cleveland from the world famous Buckeye Show that you can watch on Wednesdays here at 7:30 on the Voice of College Football. We talked about how athletic this offensive line can be, and this being one of Ryan Day's better offensive lines. And Ryan Day has already come out and said that this is their deepest offensive line that he's had since he's been there. And I stand by the fact that against Texas, the O-line didn't play bad. We just had some running backs that were missing the hole. That's honestly what I thought would happen. Today, this offensive line has not given up a sack this season, and they've given up two tackles for losses. Those are both number one in the nation. This is going to end up being Ryan Day's best offensive line he's ever had. I really believe that. I think as the season goes, we're going to see a lot from him. I think Philip Daniels is growing in front of our eyes. Austin Sarabelt if you wrote that check on him months ago, good on you. You made a lot of money off of this. You made a lot of money off of him. That Austin Sarabelt stock shot up really quickly as it should have, and he's balling out right now. Luke Montgomery, a guy I thought was going to be an All-American after the playoff. He's playing. I think he's probably our best or second best offensive lineman right now. Carson Hinsman's doing a great job at being the full-time starter since 2023. Now with Tegra and Ethan Onyanyawa, I gotta see more from Tegra if he wants to start. Otherwise, I understand putting Ethan Onyanyawa at that position. I really understand putting him at right guard. Yeah, we got to figure that out. But if Ethan is the go, then we got to play him there. Running backs were much better this week. Again, different type of competition. But I really think that I wanted to see them hit the holes harder. I wanted to see the guys, specifically James Peoples, and I wanted to see him hit the hole harder. See him be more decisive, use the athletic ability he has, that stout frame he has. I thought he did a better using that in this game, using his eyes and trusting him what he was seeing on the field. So good on him. I mean, you look at CJ Donaldson. I think he only has 5 carries in this game, and we saw more Bo, which is and we'll talk about that here in a second. But Bo got a lot of carries in this game, led the team in carries in this game, I believe, or came close to it. But CJ Donaldson gets 5 carries, and I think they're going to lessen his carries again against Ohio, and whenever they can, because I think Ryan Day believes that when the big games come, like the Penn States and the Wolverines, and then you want to go to the Big Ten championship. You have a game like that, then you have the playoffs. What we learned last year is that you need to be able to run that ball, and I think that they understand that CJ Donaldson has bell cow a bell cow mentality. He can go out there and do it. The guy has over 32 touchdowns in his career, 31 touchdowns in his career. He knows how to tote that rock. He doesn't have as many miles on him because he's been splitting the carries for the last few years. So when you have a guy like that, and now you can go out there and get the best out of him towards the end, I think that's what you want. Bo Jackson, I think Bo Jackson is the most talented runner of the ball on this team. Now you still got to be able to pass block, still got to be able to go out for routes. I mean, Bo Jackson's really good at going out for routes. He's shown his receiving capability plenty of times now, and he did in this game too. I think that there's just other things you got to learn about, but when it comes to just toting the rock specifically, just running the football, my eyes aren't lying to me. I know what I'm seeing, and he's it. He's it. And that doesn't mean that I don't like CJ Donaldson and James Peoples. I think they're damn good running backs. But I know what I'm looking at when I see Lamar Bo Jackson run the ball. That looks clean. It looks fluid. He's getting upfield. You're barely touching him. He had that great run on the sideline, ran up the middle a few times, hit 100 yards. I was really impressed by that kid. And it's only in Grambling State, but I think you're going to see a little bit more out of him against Ohio, which is step up somewhat. It does a step up in competition coming out of Grambling State, and then you're going to or just Grambling, and then you're going to see him go again, bye week. I'm sure we'll figure out the running back room by that point, or during that week in practice, and then you go against Washington, which maybe doesn't have one of the better defenses in college football, but it's another step up in competition before you get to the Illinois game. So just got to see a little bit more out of this run game, but I thought they did a great job in this. Yeah, Bo Jackson 8 for 108, James 8 for 59, and Donaldson 5 for 45. Yeah, Isaiah West had a good game too, 8 for 42 in the tug. Good job. I thought Lincoln, shout out to Sam Williams Dixon too. But I thought the wide receivers got back and forth. JJ looked like he was back and forth. Go ahead and get the comments back up. Not that he ever lost it. Cardinal Tate, I think when you look at his play, he's solidifying himself as the second best receiver in college football. On top of that, there was a Mylan Graham sighting. He looks good. he's gonna be one of those guys that when he catches the ball, the cameras go up. The cameras go up. Bi much better this week. Didn't drop any passes. Had 3 receptions this game. Really proud of him in the bounce back game that he had. Coming out of last week and had that big drop on the sideline. Good job out of him. Bryson Rogers played really well, got some nice throws. I do think that next to Georgia, or right with Georgia, we are the deepest tight end room in the country. I mean, look, guys, I'm looking at Will Kaz, 47-yard touchdown. Jelani Thurman, 3 for 44. Christensen got a touchdown. Max Clare only had 1 reception for 7 yards. That's how deep that room is. That Max Clare didn't even have to play like that, or even get thrown at like that, thrown to like that. But it's also cool that we are willing to go to our tight ends and just as deep as that room is. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Now, let's talk about Julian Sayin. Julian Sayin is one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Julian Sayin has one of the best arm talents in the game of college football. Julian Sayin has one of the best quarterback minds in the game of college football. I mean, if you just go around and look at how he processes, just processes the field and the play. And of course, Ryan Day's talked about multiple times about how he gets to the sideline. He knows what he's seeing out there, knows how to relay it on to his coaches and justify why he did something or what he saw out there, which made him choose whatever decision he makes. Starts out this game 15 for 15, Ohio State record. Finishes 18 for 19. So it means after that interception he threw, after being 15 for 15, after that he still went perfect. I mean, great game out of him. Hitting Jeremiah, hitting Carnell, hitting BI, hitting Brandon, hitting the tight ends. He looked great, man. He looks comfortable. And again, like when you look at that game against Texas, at worst, he should have been 17 for 20 in that game. At worst. So we get to see the hyper accurate ability of him, and you get to see how precise he is, and how precise he is in the plays with his drop back, from his drop back to his throwing motion, or to his eyes to his throwing motion, and just seeing what's on the field, man. Julian, he's what else can you say about the guy? What else can you say about him? Like he looks good. You know, and I remind people, when you look at the first year starting quarterbacks under Ryan Day, from Dwayne Haskins to Kyle McCord, which includes C.J. Stroud and Justin Fields, not Will Howard, because it wasn't his first time ever starting. But the average for those guys is 40 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 69 completion percentage. He's going to hover around that. And again, and I want to stress this, because what I love about Julian is that he was quiet all year, kept his head down. And by the way, Lincoln Keels had a good game, 6 for 7, 71 yards and a touchdown. You know, got to see him run the ball. We see what Jake Butt was talking about when he gets up in the open field, man. He can really move. So really glad to see that. I think he's going to have some time to play this season, and a critical time to play this season, when we're going to need his legs or his arm, whichever it may be. But Julian's saying, you know, all season, you know, I said that if he was still at Alabama, he'd be getting hyped out of this world. And for some odd reason, he wasn't getting at Ohio State. And people thought that him being challenged by Lincoln Kienholz had to do with his talent, instead of the other guy just really pushing him for the job, correct? And so now we see him get on the field, and he's dicing out there, bro. He's throwing every throw you could ask him to make. He's letting his players go out there and make moves. He's letting his players go out there and run across the field. He's putting the ball on cue. That pass to Carnell Tate over the seam, or was it like a tight post, like over the middle? Or man, that looked good. That looked good, right in the breadbasket, right there. He's next. Julian Sayin is next, and anybody that told you different, you know, whether it be because he's 5'0" or whatever they gotta say about Lincoln Kienholz, not Lincoln Kienholz, but Julian Sayin, man, they were wrong. They were dead wrong. And I'm really proud of Julian. Love the way he talks. No. See, no, Daniel, no, because I know what my eyes. You know, okay. Daniel. So Daniel says, not after hooping on Graham Garrison. At least let them cook Ohio first before you give them the Heisman. I'm not giving him the Heisman yet. But what I'm sitting here saying is that when I looked at the preseason polls, right, for Heisman odds, and I see Jeremiah Smith, but I see about 6, 7, 8 quarterbacks before I see Julian saying, "What's on your minds?" That's the quarterback at the Ohio State University. I don't care if it was Lincoln Keenholz. That's the quarterback at Ohio State. So when people forget that Julian Sayin coming out of high school is right there with DJ Lagway and Dylan Raiola. By the way, I think that conversation's over with. He's the best quarterback to come out of that class. He is. Sorry that Ohio State develops quarterbacks better than everybody else does right now. Sorry. Julian Sayin, man, he looks good. Let's just be honest here, because here's my reason behind this. We see a lot of Ohio State quarterbacks go against trash competition, right, Daniel? But none of them did what he did. None of them start the way he started, not 15 for 15 to over 200 yards, dicing them up like that. We didn't see that. Now, we have seen C.J. Stroud against Michigan State. Can't forget that game. That was crazy. The best half of football I've ever seen in my life. But, yeah, man. Yeah. Shout out to Asian Boss Queen Doreen says, hi, Garrison. Doreen, hi to you. And by the way, everybody, if you did, it's Doreen, by the way, it's in my watch later today, so I am going to watch your guys' show from last night. But everybody, make sure you join the ladies of college football, her and Minnie at 8. No, 9. It's 9. It's 8. It's 8 p.m. on Sundays every night to talk college football. And of course, if Doreen knows if I'm wrong, she'll let everybody know in here. But yeah, man. But just to finish up about Julian, I love what I see out of him. I will go a step further and tell you that this team is much more dangerous than last year's team. I will happily go out and tell you that. I think this team is much more dangerous than last year's team, and I think it's because you have an NFL coach with an NFL mind and Caleb Downs, who the guys on the defense calls Coach Downs. They call him Coach. So you have that in the backfield, along with all the talent you have with Igmanosin and Jermaine Matthews and Devin Sanchez and Lorenzo Styles, and you got Sonny and Arvell and Peyton Pearson. Who knows about Riley Pettyjohn? We know, but who knows for everybody else about coming up there? Then you talk about this defensive line. This defensive line is only getting better as the weeks go on. As the weeks go on, as of right now, yes. If someone, and I agree with this today, you can say that the Sooners are the best defensive line that they played so far. The Wolverines. I swear to God, by the time we get to Week 12, that we will have the best defensive line that they've seen all year. I truly believe that. I think that this defensive line is due to be really good. I think the defensive tackles have played their arse off, and you know what? Here, we'll do a short break, everybody, and then I'm gonna show you guys something here that will really make you happy about this defensive line. But before we continue, everybody, we do have another quick message here from the voice of college football. Get your business, product, service, or personal brand to the next level by partnering with the voice of college football, and let's discuss how you also can reach your target market. The Voice of College Football is a growing network with a large following, so let's find out how we can help you grow with us. Check out the experience of one of our current partners, that being Win Agency, posted here on the screen. And just like our community, we are here to deliver for you. Contact us at sponsorships@vocfb.com. Again, that is sponsorships@vocfb.com today. All right, everybody, again, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Please smash that like button. Of course, if you want to donate monetarily in any way, doing super chats or becoming a member on this channel, we appreciate that. But at the end of the day, all we ask is that you hit that like button, which makes does a lot for us, honestly. It gets us in the algorithm so everybody can watch this Ohio State content. Also see else we have at the network, and also join you here on the community and in the chat and everywhere else in between. Okay, so yeah, I want to show you all this real quick, and shout out to Zeke. Um, he one of the better Ohio State fans out there that you can find. I want to share with you some of the PFF grades, which again I always say, take PFF with a grain of salt, but I still think that it does give it has its place in football. Like it really does have its place in football. But I want to show you guys these scores. He posted them weekly, so I'll definitely bring them here to you also, so that you guys can check them out. If you don't have it already, go ahead and follow Zeke on X, and you'll see his page here shortly. But here we are. So right here, as you can see, on offense, line thrown with a 92.1, thought that he played really great. Of course, Will with an 88.8, he played great. There's a lot of guys in there I thought played really good on the offense. Of course, you see Luke Montgomery. Shout out to Joshua Padilla. He had a really good game. Ian Moore and Gabe Vincicle, who I'm a huge fan of. So there's 3 backup linemen right there that you see that got in the game and played damn good. Oh, sorry, 2. Yeah, so yeah, that's fine. But what I want to show you guys here is on the defense. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, so I'm gonna zoom in here. So you got Katie McDonald at 93.6. Got Jarquez Carter, true freshman, at 77.2. Got Menza at 76.3. I mean, shout out to Epi, 71 right here. Great job. He played good in the snaps he had. Had Trajan Odom at 66.4. Had Will Smith Jr. at 67.2. There's a lot to take from that. I think there's a lot to take from that. Of course, again, it's not everything. It's not everything, but I do believe that you see what those guys are doing in the defensive tackle room. You see the depth that we have right now at the defensive end position. I really believe that by the end of the year, this defensive line can go out there and show more what they have. And I think once that defensive line gets together, playing to their top potential, I think that then you're unlocking a different type of defense at Ohio State. I think you're possibly looking at one that is up there with the 2019 type of defense that we had. And so, really impressed by that, by the defense. Only look for them to go ahead and surpass what they've already done. Of course, Texas isn't the only issue we have this year. There's a lot of other teams that we had to play this year. Illinois. I mean, you got Washington, you got the Wolverines for what it is. So you still got to go out there and play some other offenses that can show they can move the ball somewhat. So most definitely got to do that. Before we move on here, everybody, make sure if you missed the rest early in the show, you want to hear it, you can also play it back on all audio platforms such as Apple, Spotify, and Amazon. Now let's continue with the show. So Ohio State plays Ohio this week. Another another game you don't want to overlook. You don't want your team overlooking, but also a game where you want your team to go out there and be dominant. Shout out to Matt Rule. I'm sure everybody, if you haven't heard about it, you've probably seen the video. But Matt Rule, he goes out there and his team's up 33-0 on Akron, and he's upset with how that first half went still. And he goes out there and he lets his team know he didn't want to see them do anything. He wanted to go out there and just dominate them and double down on what they had just done in the first half, and they went out there and did the same. And I think this is one of those games you got to see it again. And, Ohio State does it last week coming off the Texas game. They blow the doors off of Grambling. Cool. Everybody expected that. But now it's a new week. We're back to 0-0. You're trying to get to 1-0. And then once you do that, the best thing about being 3-0 is a chance to go 4-0. But I think that in this game specifically, what you want to see is everything that you did in this game, do it again in this one. Just do it again. And I think once you do that, you see a consistency out of the team, which I think is the biggest thing for us, is just show consistency because this is a young team. I do want to see the younger guys, whether it be our freshmen or redshirt freshmen or sophomores, get in the game some more. I did like to see how early they got in there. I mean, Ohio State right now has decided to play, Bo Jackson, Devin Sanchez, Carter, Petty John. Am I missing another freshman right now? No, I mean, but Milan is a first-year player, really. Uh, no, so like these guys are getting the game, these younger guys, and I think it shows that. And also, I mean, Ryan Day talked about being 7-8 deep in the offensive line. I think that's clear. I think we really are. I think if Gabe Van Sickle needed to, I think he could play for Ohio State right now. Um, I think that Moore could also. But no, so I'm really happy with the depth of this team. Again, I think that this is a chance this team could be really scary. But yeah, so Ohio, they lose to Rutgers by 3. Then they beat West Virginia. They beat the Mountaineers 17-10. I think losing to Rutgers, but Rutgers that was actually a barn burner of a game. I was surprised that Rutgers actually let the the Bobcats score as much as they did in there. Only beating the Bobcats by 3. But then they come back the following week. West Virginia, I think, is around the same type of team that the Rutgers is, and they come out with the W, winning 17-10. So good job, good on them. I think that those are two quality opponents. I think that's a quality win beating West Virginia, especially for the Ohio Bobcats. The quarterback Navarro, he's currently just under 70% throwing. I think 69.4 right now, 69.4, which is really, really, really good. Has 3 interceptions on the season, but oddly enough, all 3 of these interceptions came in the game against West Virginia. So he still threw over 70% in that game against West Virginia with those 3 interceptions, and they still won 17-10. So I think that also shows that they probably could have blown the doors off West Virginia, which is really interesting. So you think about that, them losing the Rutgers by 3 again. It shows up this is actually a quality opponent. Not sitting here saying that they're the same as even playing Washington or Illinois, but there's a quality opponent that you think that you want to go out there and still try to dominate, because they're not going to go out there and try to just give it to you. I think that especially for an in-state team. He's a mobile guy, 180 rushing yards on the season right now. Out of Navarro, leading rusher for the Ohio Bobcats on 6.7 per. So that's really good. He's a do-it-all guy for them. Main target, main weapon on offense, Hendricks. He's a wide receiver 1. In 2 games, 17 receptions, 236 yards. And it's not like he got 30 yards in the first game, then 200 yards in the second game. It's damn near split down the middle. He had 9 receptions in the first game, 8 receptions against West Virginia. Both games over in the 100 teens. Like he's a bona fide wide receiver 1. So it'll be really fun to see him going against our corners and our secondary. The defense moves around well. In 2 games, they had 5 sacks, 1 interception on the season so far, 2 games, and so we'll see. Of course, will be the biggest challenge that they've seen all season. But again, this is a step up. This isn't Texas, but it's a step up in competition coming out of the Grambling game. So I'm looking for them to just again double down on what they did last season against or last week against Grambling, coming against Ohio. Stop their quarterback. Another game that we really get to see our defense go against another mobile quarterback. So really, really looking forward to seeing that, because I think that coming to this going later in the season, we still play other mobile quarterbacks. Of course, playing one in Washington, where Devon Williams is one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in college football, especially running quarterbacks. Want to see us have success again as we did against Arch Manning, where he had a few runs, but he got away from us. Really want to see more sacks. I'll say that we're getting a lot of pressure, but I want to see some more sacks. By the way, I thought Caden Curry played great this past week. Well, look forward to seeing what he can do in this game. Want to see a little bit more of Bo Atkinson, even though he has been around some big plays. Just want to see the guys get better to this week. Julian, keep doing what you're doing. Running backs, show me that you can read the holes. Wide receivers, hold on to the ball, get open, do what you got to do over there. Tight ends, keep doing what you're doing. I think the tight ends have actually been the best position group so far on the offense. That's what I want to see out of this team. So, I mean, outside of that, force more turnovers, get more sacks. Just go out there and dominate offensively. Running backs continue to show that you can read, and then for the quarterbacks, of course, consistency, big play consistency, and that's the same for Lincoln Keenholz too. I want to be confident in knowing that we have a capable backup quarterback were in dire times or in dire needs or in God forbid situations that sorry Kilo, dog went crazy, got knocked. But that like we go ahead and we do what we have to do as a team, and that we go out there and show that we're Ohio State and they're Ohio at the end of the day. So again, everybody, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. And also, not sure if everybody knows this, but you can now go on our other website at bocfb.com/shop, where for most of the programs that we have, Ohio State, Wolverines, Oklahoma, even more, North Carolina, we have all the gear that you would need, whether it be shirts, coffee mugs, hoodies. We have it here at the Voice of College Football. So go ahead and check that out again at bocfb.com/shop. Now, let's get into our last segment of the night, actually, the night. We're going to talk about the AP Top 25, go through it, talk about some of the teams that I think the pollsters ranked a little bit too high, those who I think are a little bit too low, and then I'm actually going to give you guys my top 20 this after week 2. I didn't want to do week 1 because I just and I'll explain why I did it this way once you see the rankings. But there's a certain way I went about my mind that are a little bit different because it's also based on feelings. Some of it's with facts. Don't get me wrong. Facts can't care about your feelings, but it's more like where I feel really good about a team. And I like what simply because of what they've shown on the field. So let's get into this here. The top 25 coming from the AP pollsters. Ohio State again is the number 1 team of the nation, followed by number 2, which was honestly surprising because I think there's other teams that deserve it. But Penn State, which I'm not too surprised by it, but I don't believe that based off what I've seen from other teams, I don't believe that they are the number 2 team in the country right now. Here we go, so y'all can see it also. Then at number 3, LSU. I like them in the top 4. I like them at that number 3 position. Number 4, you have Oregon. 5, Miami. 6, Georgia. Texas at 7. I would have Texas a little bit further down. I would actually have Notre Dame ahead of them. I would have, I think based on my schedule, my rankings, I would have Illinois ahead of them, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Florida State, I think, is too low. I like USF at 18. I'm glad they got ranked. They deserve to be ranked. USF has 2 very quality wins this season. 2 ranked wins this season, actually, based off preseason rankings and week 1 rankings. So, yeah, that's that. Then, of course, you got the Wolverines falling down behind the Indiana Hoosiers at 23. And then following out with Auburn at 24, Missouri at 25. By the way, the SEC has, I want to say 11. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, 11 teams. You could argue that they should have a 12 team in there. Let's be honest. Vanderbilt probably should be ranked also. They've done a lot more impressive things than even a Michigan has, or Texas Tech, who's SEC. But yeah, or no, I'm sorry, Big 12. They've been more impressive, and so I think that the Vanderbilt's kind of getting overlooked here also. But I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here with you guys so you can see my top 20, and you let me know where I'm right, where I'm wrong, if I'm off my rocker about some of these rankings. If you think that some of them are biased or unbiased, you let me know. But yeah, let's get in here real quick and check this out. So everyone, this is my top 20 right here. Actually, can you guys see it? 1 second. There we go. So yeah, here's my top 20, everybody. I have Ohio State 1. I think they're there for obvious reasons. Next, you have Oregon at number 3. I'm sorry, at number 2. I think we can all understand why they are there. And by the way, if you read the top here, my top 20 criteria is be consistent in a very fluid ranking. It's a very fluid ranking system. And so, because I need consistency still, but I need you to show me why you're number 1 still, look by your play and who you're playing. So Oregon number 2, I think Oregon and Ohio State have separated themselves from the best of the Big Ten just in general. But I like what Oregon's doing. They're going out there and they're dominating. If you pay attention to last year, the Oregon Ducks had a weak schedule as they did this year, but they weren't just smashing teams as they are right now. Like those other teams were like Idaho State were in the game, or Idaho was in the game against them. Where now they're just knocking people's heads off. Dante Moore is exactly who I thought he was, and a lot of people didn't say he wasn't. LSU at number 3, Miami at number 4. I think Miami is the best team right now in the ACC. My only questions for Miami coming into the season is shout out to my boy Cam. I saw you in here earlier, man. One of my Navy boys, brothers from the one of my brothers from the Navy. One of my best friends to this day. He's from Ohio and he's a Miami fan, by the way. But like Miami, Hurricanes. But my only questions for Miami coming into the season were: can they? Who are their receivers? Who are they going to throw to after losing what they lost last year? And can they stop anybody? That's one of the best defensive lines in the country. One of the best defensive fronts in the country. Ruben Bain and Justin. I mean, those guys are dogs over at Miami. I like what I see out of them. Penn State number 5. We got to see more. Especially when you're playing a lesser opponent. UGA number 6. I might have overblown what I thought was could be a down year with the quarterback. He's a pretty good Gunnar Stockton. I think he's played better than my expectations, even based off who they have played. It's still better than my expectations. I will always be as loud in my praise as I was in my criticism. So good on Gunnar Stockton. Georgia looks damn good. Georgia looks like they haven't gone anywhere. Florida State, I'm at number 7. I think that a lot of people are just shitting on Alabama so much now that they're not giving Florida State the credit of going out there and kicking the dog shit out of Alabama. That's a top 10 team. That's a top 10 team. Mark my words. And again, as of right now, it's a very fluid, but I think this team can show some consistency. And this team is going to go play Florida. And this team is going to beat Florida. They're going to beat Florida. I love DJ Lagway. That's a terrible coach in Billy Napier. And I like the fact that Billy Napier is staying 10 toes down and saying that he's going to be the one to call these plays. But I'm telling you right now, they're going to win that game. And when they play Miami, boy, oh boy, I can't wait for that game. I can't wait for that game. That's gonna be college game day, big game of the week. Everyone's gonna be watching it. I don't think there's gonna be anything else to watch. Next, Notre Dame at 8. I like what I see there. OU at number 9. Good quality win this past week against the Wolverines. You actually dominated the Wolverines, to be honest with you. The game could have gotten much more out of hand. Illinois at number 10, being steady, and they do what they're supposed to do: beat the dog crap out of a team. USC, I have USC at 11. I think USC is being overlooked right now. Everybody's gonna sit there and say, "Yeah, but look who they're playing." Okay, but what did you expect USC to be? They're knocking people's heads off, and I gotta give credit to when you knock people's heads off. Because here's the thing: do you think those teams, let's say if you're a Wolverine fan, those teams that they're knocking the crap out of aren't much less of what you played out of New Mexico? You played a bad New Mexico team. You were not able to do you were not able to smack them in their mouth. You were not able to do that. That game was close at the end. It got close for a second of that game. I mean, I don't know. I just don't see it. I mean, if you look further down, I have Nebraska at 19 because Nebraska went out there and put 68 points on Akron. I don't think Michigan could put 68 points on Akron. I don't think that. I will happily completely take a shard on you guys right now because you guys got dominated against that team against Oklahoma. But I got Illinois at 10, USC 11, South Carolina at 12, Tennessee at 13. They won that trade, getting rid of Nigo. I'm gonna be honest. I think they're happy with the quarterback they have now. Tennessee won. Texas at 14. I just gotta see more. Just gotta see more. I wouldn't pick Arch Manning over CJ Carr today. USF at 15. Getting quality wins out of them. Two ranked wins out of them coming into that game. So them not being ranked is insane to me. I think right now I have them at 15. I think they can play a lot of teams right now. Alabama at 16. Way to bounce back and smack the dog crap out of a team. Utah at 17. Better than I expected. Shout out to Utah. I think they're in the they're in the catbird seat right now for the Big 12. Tam at 18, Nebraska at 19. I got Clemson at 20, and Clemson disappointed me. I mean, I had Clemson win the national championship. I take that. I take that back. I take that back. I think if they play Miami today, they get blown out. I think they get the doors blown off. I like that Miami team. This is one of the better Miami teams I've seen in a while. So yeah, everyone, that's my my top 20 right there, and of course Ohio State at number 1. But yeah, I want to know, like, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about the AP poll ratings? What do you guys think about my rankings? Go ahead and put that in the comments. Put it in the chat. Where you agree with me, where you disagree with me, who's high, who's too low, all those things. Again, everybody, thank you for joining the Ohio State The Voice College Football today. If you haven't already, please smash that like button and join the community and subscribe. See my guy Aaron here. Shout out to Aaron. He says, I want to see a cleaner game for sure. Edric was tripping me. How last game laughed my ass off. Yeah, no, yeah. Edric's gonna play better. I mean, I thought he played better in that game against Texas, which says a lot. I mean, it says a lot about him. I'm really happy about him. Aaron says Delaney. Yeah, Delaney played too. I'm glad about that. Was really happy about that. Delaney, I think he's gonna play a lot this season. I think seeing him on special teams is good to see. Usually young guys that are on special teams, that means they just want you to be able to be on the field. So glad to see that. Shout out to Jam. She says Julian will be a target if we can't run the ball. I agree, and that's why he's got to see more. That's why he's got to see more, man. Just do it more. I'm sorry, for more reps, of course, but do it against Ohio. Do it against Washington, especially before we see this Illinois team. Okay, just need to see that run game get a little bit better, and then I'll really jump off the ledge for this team, because if the run game gets better, I don't know what the ceiling is for this team. I really don't. And I said before, I think that if Ohio State were to win a national championship, I think they're in the 2014 situation where you're winning a year too early. Not a year too early, but you're winning a year earlier than most thought you would. So, because I really think that 2026 Ohio State is the team to be most afraid of. Aaron says Texas at 14 is too low. I gave them that just based off of what I think they can be. Again, some of this is also feeling. Like, I think more facts, but also some of my feelings about the roster, the talent that they have on the roster. It's a power ranking, but some of those teams below them, I think they can still beat. But yeah, I'm not mad at you for saying that, though. I mean, could I have put them lower? Yes, I technically could have, Aaron. You're not wrong about that. Daniel Henry says, I feel some type of way watching it in Miami. Justin Scott and Mark Fletcher should be Buckeyes. Bro, they're balling out. That boy Justin Scott's a dog. Like, him and Bain on that D-line are going crazy. They're going crazy. But yeah, I agree with you, bro. They should have been Buckeyes. There's a lot of guys. Mateo Uyunglele, he should be a Buckeye. There's some other guys. But I'm happy with what we got. And I'll ride with what we got. James, I don't like preseason or early season rankings. We just don't know what the teams are yet. It's too early. I agree, Jam, and that's why, like, I think a lot of these AP voters, they aren't watching the games and they aren't actually studying what's going on around the country, because they're beat writers and they have to sit there and focus on what they have for their team, right? Whereas and that's why I'm very fluid in my rankings. That's why I on the top of my rankings I look for consistency in a very fluid ranking system that I have. Mine's gonna be much more fluid. And that's why I have USF so high. I have Florida State at number 7. I'm very fluid in the way I think about these teams, and because from week to week or every other few weeks, yeah, my mind changes. And like Colin Cowherd says, a wise man always changes his mind with new information. And that's the way I try to go about mine. So yeah, but again, everybody, thank you for joining Ohio State here, the Voice of College Football. Myself here, Garrison Gaddy. Make sure you check out the rest of the content that we have throughout the week, whether it be with Mark Rogers, Mike, and Terry on this network. Again, my name is Garrison Gaddy. OHIO.